What is up, everyone? Okay, so this is like my third take on this. I was actually trying to edit it because I'm using Microsoft Clipchamp, and I couldn't because the software is giving me problems. So back to being unedited until I can get that situation taken care of. So I'm gonna probably do a lot of flubs. I'm gonna probably make a lot of mistakes. There's no pictures, no titles, no nothing. But let's just go ahead and get this thing going. Okay, first off, as much as I don't want to talk about the submersible story, I'm going to talk about the submersible story. And the reason why is because I feel like it's important to point out that, you know, I want to feel bad about what happened in that instance. Because if that had happened to anybody else, it would be tragic. It would be sad. It would be painful. It would be depressing. But it happened to billionaires, so I don't care. I will say this though. Two things stuck out to me about that story. One, the 19-year-old boy who lost his life tragically, and like it really puts into perspective exactly how old I am and how precious life is. Cause I work with like people who are like between the ages of 18 to 21, and I'm a decade older than them. I've seen the world that they see. I've seen 10 years before they ever could. So being able to see like these, like I don't see a 19-year-old and go, hey, look at that adult person. No, it's like this is a baby. Somebody protect this baby. You know what I'm saying? There's a pause button on this camera thing that I'm using, so I had to kind of do some stuff. But like what I'm trying to bring up is like I say, I look at these kids, and so it's like that kid dying really kind of bummed me out. But another thing that kind of also stood out to me was the fact that the CEO of the company was also in the thing with them. So like if there was any room to sue, you would have to sue the actual company because the CEO is went down with this ship. And honestly, as much as I don't like billionaires, I gotta respect that because he could have easily just not went. As a matter of fact, they all could have easily just not went. So like the jokes are funny to me. I'm just gonna say that. Like if you know me personally, if you see my videos, you know what kind of person I am. You know that like I'm not about to, you know, feel bad for billionaires because I don't align myself with these folks. I don't believe that billionaires work hard. Like one of my least favorite retorts to when I say I don't like billionaires is, "Oh, you don't like them because they got more money than you." And let me just I don't there's a lot of people that have more money than me. I don't care about those people. I basically made it very clear that I personally avoid the celebrity spectrum of news because these are all rich people, but they don't have any they don't have any influence. Meanwhile, billionaires who are not celebrities, by the way, are they're buying people in Congress. They're buying local and state laws. They're buying Supreme Court justices. Like if the most expensive thing a person could buy was like maybe a house or a car, you know what I mean? I wouldn't care that much because of the fact that they're just living in a lap of luxury. Who gives a crap? But there are people out there who are actively trying to make life as miserable as possible for other people just so they can profit off of it. It's ridiculous. I need for y'all to understand specifically that there's a lot of problems in America that could be solved with money. And these people are not solving those problems with money. You know what I mean? Like there's homelessness is a problem in America, and yet for some strange reason, every single time the discussion of how to house homeless people comes about, the first thing that everybody wants to say is, "Well, how are we going to pay for it?" Which is ridiculous because you got access to money. Like what? Like what? You can't get some money up out of these rich idiots. We are a nation that is trillions of dollars in debt, and we have a trillionaire. Like, somebody explain to me how this makes sense. What costs $1 billion that you need more billions of dollars? I'm gonna always go back to that because that's really frustrating to me. So yes, do I feel bad for the submersible issue? Yes, on the issue of it happening, but no to who it happened to. Because in another situation, another scenario that didn't really get talked about, 500 migrants who were just trying to go and find themselves a better life. They're dead now. Some of them. That's what I'm saying. It's wild. Like I can't feel too bad about the scenario. I can't be too bummed out about it because I can't feel bad about billionaires. And rather than admonish me for being some sort of heartless, callous individual, because I consider myself a pretty empathetic person. Well, how come you can't feel bad for billionaires then? Because billionaires are terrible. Because most billionaires are terrible people. But also, I do feel bad for the boy who died, and I do got to give props to Stockton Rush for being a part of the thing because he went down with the ship. But, like, I consider myself a pretty empathetic person, but I'm not going to feel bad for people that are actively trying to ruin the whole world just so they can get an extra buck, man. Like, once you kill all the poor people, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Start eating each other? But I do also think that, like, there is this sort of, like, this branch that's been going on where people are saying, well, don't let it distract you, which is weird because, like, first off, rule number one, if you're going to tell me that I'm being distracted by something, you have to also tell me what I'm being distracted from. So to say, this is a distraction from what? I can't tell you that. Then you're the distraction now. I do kind of want to fish out my own personal conspiracy theory, and it involves Jamie Foxx because, like, 2024 is coming up in like 6 or 7 months or so, and like being a right winger, being a Republican, is starting to lose its luster. Like Donald Trump got indicted twice. People are starting to sour on Ron DeSantis. Tucker Carlson had a cease and desist from his Twitter show. I mean, like, you got all these other people running for a Republican nominee who either folks don't care about or just don't know. Like, you have like, so you have like all of these things. Like, being a Republican right now is like it's starting to the tide is starting to like wane just a little bit, or is it wax? One of them is the tide is starting to, like the wave is starting to subside a little bit. So, but it's like they got like another ace in the hole, and that is anti-vax. And for the longest time, Jamie Foxx has been sick because of, people are saying, oh, he's been sick because of the vaccine. So they're trying to push this narrative that Jamie Foxx is sick because of the vaccine. Because, like, all you gotta do to tick off a Republican nowadays is say trans people exist and the vaccine is, alive and well, and people are actually being helped because of the vaccine. So it's like, what better way to push that than to sort of promote that someone has died from being vaccinated, right? So, and it can't be just a regular person. It has to be somebody of a high caliber. So Jamie Foxx is clearly that person, and they're like, well, let's use Jamie Foxx. And so I'm convinced that if there is a distraction going on, it's probably because right now the right wingers are contemplating probably doing something really harmful to Jamie Foxx to push their narrative that the vaccine did something, so that they can push the anti-vaccine thing to keep their base really hyper about what's going on. I hope that that's not the case, but just in case, please look out for Jamie Foxx and all black people for that matter, because we're still being targeted by a racist agenda. What else is there? One Piece, the One Piece live action on Netflix is easily the coolest thing I've seen so far. Yes, I will say that, and I will say that with my entire chest. As a matter of fact, I don't care if I get canceled. I was never popular on YouTube in the first place, but I will say this: all of the Netflix anime adaptations haven't been terrible. They have not been bad. Like, people are just upset because they didn't direct it. That's all. Like, fandoms want to shadow cast, and they want to fan cast and shadow direct and armchair, and just basically armchair make things. You know what I'm saying? So they want to be able to have their own take. It's basically a lot of their backlash is, well, I would have done it differently. That's all it could be like. That's all it could be. I hate doing this now because Donald Trump did it, but it's basically all of. That's all the criticism is, well, I would have done it differently. Because, that's all they got. So there's that. But yeah, like I'm excited for it. I like to think that it's gonna do. I want to see it do well because like the problem is that like if you knock it, then no, like then you're denying a series. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I personally want to see who they would have play Whitebeard or White Stash. I'm not calling him Whitebeard. He doesn't have a beard. Neither does Blackbeard. Oh, stupid! Like Blackbeard has no beard. This is a stupid thing that they did. I'm angry about it. I hate Blackbeard. But yeah, so I'm happy about it. I'm excited for it. I hope that it does well. And I don't know if when I'm going to be able to watch it. But like I said, we're definitely kind of. But if it's like Super Mario was good, even though it had Chris Pratt in it, and I don't like Chris Pratt. But like it's just a lot. It's a lot that's going into this. It's a lot of work, man. What else is there? There's one of my coworkers quit a couple days ago, and that's really bummed me out. Into it's really taking into perspective just how much I actually like my coworkers. You know what I mean? It's like because I don't see like I don't go out after work. I go to the house and I go to the house. I get on the internet for a little bit and then I nap. You know what I'm saying? Until the next day. So to be able to see my coworker not being around, it's just making me. It's like it's not like I think he's dead, but it's very 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 possible that he was a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about stuff. He was a big anime nerd, and he collected his figurines and stuff like that. It's just like a lot of music stuff I got from him, and like he was just a cool dude. So it just really kind of bums me out that he's not going to be around anymore, and it really makes me remember that like I do make friends with people at my job. One of the few things that keep me interested in working still is both the paycheck and the relationships I build. There's some people who are also like who was there when I started, like like maybe a year and a half ago or so, and I miss them. I miss my coworkers. I miss my friends. To me, they were friends because high school. Work is basically just high school with money. You know what I'm saying? There's still cliques. You know what I mean? There's a principal who's the manager above your manager. There's the teacher who is just the basic manager. There's a lot of routines you have to do. Although there's just certain things that just make I feel like everything ultimately is high school after you get out of high school. That you can basically compare everything to high school because people don't truly grow up. So there's that. But Frank, whatever you're doing, I hope that you're doing well with it, and I hope that you're okay. Well, that's it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and call it because I don't know this. I'm still frustrated about my editing. I'm still frustrated about my edited situation, and I better go ahead and get that. Love, peace, happiness, and safety to every single person of y'all out there, and y'all take it easy.